Our oceans are dying and the great coral reef is perishing, and millions around the globe are getting sick each year because of something that almost everyone in this room and in the world is guilty of, and that's pollution. We pollute the waters of the world and the oceans from plastics, single-use plastics that we use every day, and clothing, the clothing industry, and washing clothes at home, and carbon emissions from vehicles and things that we use, planes and boats and things like that. So with the help of everyone here and the rest of the world, we can live in a world that's thriving and with zero pollution, but it's going to take effort from everyone. I'm Dylan Lawson. I'm a student at CVCC, and I've researched and written multiple papers and essays on ocean pollution and problems with carbon emissions and polluting the world at school. And just last week I was at Harvard University, and I was at the Natural Museum of Sciences at Harvard and looked and researched in the section of their climate change exhibition to show aspects that have to do with carbon emissions. So today I'm going to speak about the causes, the effects, and possible solutions to combat ocean pollution and water pollution in our local rivers and streams and things like that. So the first thing is the causes of it. So water pollution is caused in multiple aspects and areas of life. Anything from drinking, your plastic bottles that you drink, your grocery bags that you have, all the way to microplastics in your clothing and when you do your laundry. And something that is not as commonly known is rain, runoff from the rain and things in the dirt that run off into the sewer systems that go push into the ocean, and carbon emissions from vehicles. Dumping is a big part of it from governments. They tend to dump the trash in the ocean from all governments around the world. So that is a big issue that needs to be looked at. As I stated, single-use plastics, so bottles, coffee cups, straws, things like that are big causes, as well as every time you wash laundry, according to the Ocean Clean Wash Association, around 9 million microplastics are released into wastewater treatment plants, and these often cannot be filtered out and ultimately end up in the ocean. So those are just some of the causes that contribute to pollution in the waters. So now I will look at basically some of the effects that those have. So usually it says supported by the National Research Defense Council, stated in 2015 that there were 1.8 million deaths alone in the world just from ocean pollution and water pollution in local rivers and lakes. Garbage is dumped into the ocean, like I stated, and the effects of that is it can entangle and strangle this fish and the species, and cause the evolution of the species to halt, and that's bad for the fish as well as people to not be able to consume the animals. And to piggyback on that, carbon emissions, the carbon in the air turns the waters more acidic, and because the acidity of the water, it has caused fish and smaller marine life like shellfish to become toxic, which in return are ingested by tuna and bigger fish, which are in return ingested by humans. Therefore, it's just a never-ending cycle. So those are some of the effects that are caused by the devices that I had mentioned, and there needs to be change. So thirdly, some of the things we can do to prevent this pollution is something that can be done by governments, it's something that can be done by locals, and something just everyone in this room can contribute to. First thing would be cutting back the use of single-use plastics, obviously, ultimately to stop pollution. You can use things like reusable grocery bags, paper straws, things of that nature, not use as many throwaway plastics that are just going to end up being dumped into the ocean. The Daily Record actually put out a post highlighting the supermarket chain Lidl has recycled plastic into their packaging and totally eliminated single-use plastics from their vegetables and their fruit section. So that's all just reusable plastics or compostable uses for their fruits and vegetables. And then I saw the National Parks Conservation Association, the website, highlighted action that was taken by the United States government. There was a bill put into place that by 2032, single-use plastics will be banned and not sold, or you cannot bring them into national parks or wild refuges. So those are just some of the things that can be done and are being done to prevent the spread of that. So in conclusion, today I highlighted the causes like microplastics, fibers in your clothing, and carbon emissions from vehicles, runoff, things like that. The effects that happens from those, so it'd be the carbon emissions cause the acidity in the ocean, and the microplastics and the laundry, and then as well as steps we can take to combat those and make it for a better future for the world. Thank you.